Hey, folks, welcome for another great Word on the Street. I'm very excited today with none other than Samantha Hill of thepatientplaybook.com. And I'm so happy to see you today. How you doing, Samantha?
I'm good. Thanks for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Always. Well, let me tell you why I'm excited about you. You're saving lives. You're helping people literally survive this COVID pandemic. And you started, I think, with your mother, saving your mother's life as well. Folks, when you watch World of the Street and other things that you see me on, I haven't been shy in talking about what's happening with this pandemic. The fact that hospitals are incentivized, even with quotas, that is a fact. With giving remdesivir, shutting down the kidneys, mimicking pneumonia, then getting paid over $50,000 to put someone onto a ventilator, then getting paid $38,000 for their death related to COVID. We've had reports of doctors changing birth certificates and getting paid for that, hospitals mandating that, people being admitted and a box being checked of unvaccinated, even though they are vaccinated. They're just not vaccinated there, a play on words. Folks, it's the most craziest, evil thing I've ever seen. But Samantha, you know about this up close and personal, and you have exercised your constitutional rights that we're going to go into in saving your own mother's life, and you began to help others save the lives of their loved ones as well. So tell us your story, Samantha.
Well, thank you again for having me. So I really am excited to be here. It's a interesting time to be alive, to say the least, and we're living out circumstances that I don't think anyone ever imagined that we would be in, but here we are. So, my story starts with my mom. As you said, my mom was sick. She got diagnosed with COVID and pneumonia, and she was admitted into the hospital. My sister and I had been aware of, we had heard things through the grapevine, a little bit on social media, probably like many other people, about these hospital protocols and, things that were going on. And, you don't really know, but it's in the back of your mind. And so she got taken to the hospital by ambulance, and it was late on a Sunday evening. And so, by Monday morning, I'm, checking on her. I'm trying to figure out, I'm communicating with the doctors. My stepdad at the time was sick with COVID and pneumonia also. So, I was dealing with two family members. He was not admitted though, thankfully. So, but we, started asking the doctors questions, and, as they were telling me, her treatment plan and things of that sort, I was writing everything down, and I started doing research, and, the things that I realized were just astonishing. I just couldn't believe it. And so, my sister and I started, calling and challenging the hospital, asking them questions. We asked them to take her off of remdesivir. The amount of pushback that we received is, it's just insane. And so, literally from, 24 to 48 hours of her being admitted, the fight was on. And, so she ended up doing 18 days. She is alive and well today, thank God. You throw that out there. So yes, but we fought really hard. We fought to get her off of remdesivir. They were very adamant about continuing to give her that medication.
Yes.
They would not take no for an answer. It was, and that was just the beginning. And, then after that, we wanted a medication for her called budesonide. It's a generic asthma medication. So we wanted that to be administered to her, and they just absolutely refused. It didn't matter about studies, proof, anything of that sort. I'm sure we'll probably talk about, the advantages of budesonide and why it works, and, things of that sort. But, once again, huge fight. So we were able to, to keep challenging them, holding them accountable for, the things, the lies, all the things that they were doing. We were able to, overcome them. I always kind of joke that I don't think that they were ready, for us. I don't think anybody had challenged them to the
No.
manner that we did. And so yeah, we ended up getting her the medication. My mom went from being basically in a comatose state. She couldn't lift her head off a pillow. She could no longer respond to a text message, a phone call. Anytime that I did speak to her was only when she had a visitor, and she would just tell me, get me out of here, get me out of here, get me Dr. Bartlett, get me that medication, all that stuff. And so she, within, I think, 12, 18 hours of starting to receive her treatment, she was able to eat her first meal after 7 days. She was talking, responding to text messages. One of the greatest feelings in my life was every day my mom was in the hospital, I would message her and I would text her because, she couldn't speak. It was hard. And I would text her, and she got to a point where she couldn't respond. And so, the next day after she started getting those treatments, and she texted me back, and I was like, hey, Mom. And she texted back and was like, hey, babe. And I just about fell over. I was like, what? Oh my gosh. And so, I'm here today to, to share her story, but to be a testament of, challenging these hospitals and fighting for your loved one. I'm no one special. I don't have a medical background. I don't have a legal degree. I'm just someone that challenged the system and would not give up. And, everyone needs to do the same for their loved ones.
But you are a hero in my book, and you are a citizen of the United States that executed your constitutional rights in demanding being able to fire your doctor if you need to, demanding a change in care. Otherwise, you could fire the doctor. I don't know if you demanded an ethics committee consult or not, but that's definitely within your rights. What did you do when they said no? What did you do?
Initially you ask why, and so, and now doing what I do as far as the advocacy part, I hear basically the same reasonings over and over, from different parts of the country. But it's all typically in the same. So with my mom, initially they told me that they probably didn't have the medication there, that they didn't keep it in the hospital. One of the great things about budesonide and why I advocate for it so hard, obviously I'm partial to it because it saved my mom's life, but you overcome the challenge immediately that budesonide is actually in every single hospital pharmacy. Every hospital has it. And so when you look at other medications like ivermectin, hydroxychloroquine, which are fantastic, you don't necessarily know that those medications are available. Budesonide, as I mentioned earlier, it's a generic asthma medication. They give it to babies in a NICU. It's extremely safe, so it's there. So you're kind of removing that obstacle just right off the bat. But yeah, they told us that they probably didn't have it. They told us that it was unsafe. Then they told us it was unsafe to the medical staff, and then it was unsafe to other patients. It was going to go into the ventilation system, just all kinds of things. And so you have to do your research and due diligence. And I was fortunate enough to know that when the pandemic started, that the hospital had actually spent billions on redoing the entire ventilation system so that the virus couldn't spread in that manner. So it was just a lie. It was just another lie. So, you have to keep coming back and keep challenging them and, moving forward. We did call for an ethics committee meeting. We were not granted that until after they actually had agreed to give my mom the medication. But when it came down to, everyone's always like, what was the moment or what happened that you were able to get it? And I don't know if there was one definitive moment, but I know that we went up there twice in one day, and I was pretty sure I was going to get probably hauled off the second time because I was super upset. And we had a huge discussion. We were cornered by, a nurse floor coordinator, some people in, we were trying to speak to the doctors and they were not allowing us. But, at the end, it sounds really bad, that type of situation, but those people were actually really crucial in getting us the medication because I think they realized that we were extremely serious. And, I threatened obviously legal action in reference to the remdesivir. They were continuing to give her medicate or give her the medication, even though I'd already told them not to. And when I found that out that day, and they told me that they went into my mom's room and asked my mom if she wanted her medication, and my mom said yes. That's when I thought for sure I was about to get thrown out, because I said, I'm going to order a psych evaluation. That woman can't lift her head. She can't speak. You've been doping her up with all kinds of things. She's in no position to make decisions like that. And, and I went off on the fact of, did you tell her, what that medication does? Did you tell her that it causes kidney failure? Did you tell her it causes fluid in her lungs? Did you tell her, and so I think as the process went on, there were just many aspects that we did that maybe intimidated them, a little bit. And, when we left that day, they said they would call us to set up an ethics committee meeting. That was on a Friday. They said they were not going to meet with us until Monday. And I told them it was unacceptable. I said, you're going to give her that medication. She's not going to go all weekend without medication, and you're going to give it to her, or I'm going to sue you, and I'm going to sue every single one of you personally, individually. I mean, I was like, done. I was like, I'm done dealing with y'all. I mean, give it to her. And had they not given it, I believe 100% my mom would not be here today.
I'm encouraged because I never thought I'd see a day where the place that you go to get well, the place that you go for care, would be incentivized for your death.
Oh, yeah.
Would be turned into a modern version of a concentration camp and a death center. And that's not all of them. It's not all the personnel, of course. I was reporting on a doctor who was very upset 2 years ago when he discovered that there were payouts for COVID deaths. And then there were payouts for changing death certificates. And there were payouts for claiming a gunshot wound that's COVID related, a motorcycle, such greed, such evil. And then we've been getting reports that the very nurses and doctors, those heroes that quit because they refused the jab, were replaced with FEMA doctors and nurses, paid double and not required to get a vaccine themselves. Evil, pure
Interesting.
evil.
Yeah.
Now, my heart goes out to the doctors and nurses who are committed to take care of people, but you need to know what's happening with your administrations in your hospitals. You need to know that the trillions that have been passed in this communist regime, that's where a lot of money's going, to incentivize the deaths of Americans, which, by the way, America was the only country foolish enough to give remdesivir to their patients, because the other nations decided not to do it. They knew it caused kidney failure and fluid in the lungs. But Fauci, who should be in prison right now, and has funded China, and the Obama administration that funded the gain of function weaponization. And once again, it wasn't bat soup any more than Benghazi wasn't a video. It was about empowering and arming our enemies and weaponizing a virus and the global elites. And with no conspiracy now, folks. 2 years ago, you thought it was. Guess who was right? The people who have been trying to warn you, people like Samantha Hill. This whole time at the bottom of the screen, you've been seeing the website, thepatientplaybook.com, because Samantha Hill is an advocate that can help you and can remind you what your rights are. And of course, Richard Bartlett, who you've seen on Word of the Street a couple of times, his sister Laura Bartlett, and of course Samantha have also worked together and partnered together in ways to help you. But this is very urgent, folks. And again, I mean, Samantha, did you ever think you'd see the day
No,
when people were paid to kill you?
no, I never imagined this. You are conditioned from a very young age that, doctors are good and you trust them and you follow what they say. And we live in a time that is to be challenged. Just all the way across the board. I mean, COVID or not at this point, because they are getting paid for so many different things. Obviously, COVID is, the situation right now. But you have a right when you go into the hospital or you go to any doctor for them to tell you what the risk and benefits are of different treatment options. You also have a right to ask them if they're getting what is it, a payback or a kickback from certain medications and things of that sort. And legally, they are obligated to tell you that. I mean, obviously they're probably not, but it's important to know your rights to go in there. And so if you are, and you find yourself, in the hospital at this point, you should ask them, what's the risk and what's the benefits? And is there a personal or financial gain to you or the hospital for doing these treatments on my loved one? I think that right there makes their ears perk up because they're like, what do you know? Well, you know what? I know a lot. So, but the patient playbook is a advocacy agency that I started. And I work with people all across the country. I work with people in, Colorado, California, New Mexico. It's endless. And I help families that have loved ones in the hospital fight for their treatment options. You have a right to be involved in the treatment plan. You have a right to say, no, I don't want remdesivir. And you have a right to say, I want to be treated with this medication. So, you can't let them bully you or intimidate you. And so I work with people all across the country as a mediator with the doctors and the hospitals. And, we fight for the budesonide treatment. So we fight for the medication, we fight for particular, frequencies, dosages, things of that sort, depending on the situation. But you mentioned Dr. Bartlett and Laura and Barb Bartlett. You didn't mention her, but all of them are the most amazing people. They were crucial in saving my mom's life, every single one of them. They're the most amazing people in the world, and they all offer their own, their own things to the situation. So Dr. Bartlett's a great resource for me on the medical side. So is Barb Bartlett. She's a nurse. She's also an attorney.
I haven't heard her name before. You said
Barb? Have you not? Yeah, Barb Bartlett. Yeah. So she's Dr. Bartlett's sister. So there's Laura.
Wow. I didn't know that. Wonderful, folks.
Yeah, they're a powerhouse team. Yeah, they're a powerhouse team. So, I'm so fortunate that we have developed, a friendship and a relationship. I love all of them so much. And so they really help me, as I go through helping other families. If there's something I don't know, they are instrumental in giving me the information or guiding me, in whatever direction I need to go in.
Well, Samantha, I'm very impressed, and I love that you're advocating for people all across the country. Again, folks, this is the Bible coming alive. You don't have to be a churchgoer to see the news, to see that, man, there's something to all this. This one world government people thought was tinfoil hats and conspiracy theorists, and now it's pretty much out in the open, and even on the Super Bowl halftime, and I just never thought I'd see these days so quickly. But I'm glad, though, that there are people that are stepping forward like yourself and like myself that are putting the truth out there and putting positive, encouraging media out there as well in a culture and to a country that has lost faith in their government with good reason. They've lost faith in the mainstream media with good reason. Mm-hmm. They've lost faith in mainstream medicine for good reason. But the entire time at the bottom of the screen, you've been seeing thepatientplaybook.com and how you can connect with Samantha Hill. And I encourage you to do it. Your life may depend on it, and the lives of your loved ones. People need to know you have rights in this country, no matter what you've been told. It's amazing the things that people believe just because they've seen them on television or they've read them on the internet. But facts are facts, and facts are not emotional. Facts are not political. And the fact is, you have a right as a citizen to demand proper care for your loved one. And I did not know you had the right to ask, are you being incentivized or any kickbacks being received for giving this medication? Are they required to answer honestly, or are they just required to give an answer?
Well, I mean, they're required to answer honestly, but we see that they do a lot of whatever they want these days. But it's also very important that you record every conversation that you can, because in the end of all of this, I pray that the people that are doing the evil work, they will pay, and we all know that they'll pay at the end when they have to go before God. But I believe
they pay before then.
Mm-hmm. But before that, we're going to, address the people that that condone these behaviors. And so, yeah, record everything you can, because you never know what you may have, when it's all said and done.
So, someone has a loved one in the hospital. I met you a long time ago over the phone, and of course, think the world of Richard Bartlett, Dr. Bartlett. I've known him for years, but I have repeated these facts to many, many people. I've had loved ones going to the hospital since then, and I've always said the same thing: get them out of that death center. They're paid to kill you. It's not a conspiracy anymore, folks. They're incentivized to see this to the end when they know the facts are the facts. Ivermectin won a Nobel Peace Prize for saving humans. But everyone continued the lie, it seemed. And I'll tell you what, I got COVID the first time in Egypt, coming over on a plane back from Egypt, working with widows and orphans there in Garbage City in Cairo. We heard from our sources, because we were in the president's circle in Egypt. We heard from our sources that China released a virus today. And sure enough, China sent out 8,000 people in every direction on planes to spread this weaponized virus. And 10 of them were on my plane, and were coughing their heads off. And I got sick, and I don't get sick. I don't stay down. And I have called in sick from a job or something, maybe once in a decade. I kid you not. But boy, this thing put me down, and I knew it was a weaponized virus. Vitamin C, aspirin helped me. I didn't know about ivermectin, didn't know about budesonide. But it took me a while to recover. So this last time that I got COVID, I remembered Samantha Hill, and I remembered Richard Bartlett, and I ordered budesonide on Amazon, and I got ivermectin online, because interesting how this administration blocks ivermectin, yet they'll give out crack pipes or heroin needles, or what, folks? Is it any secret who's on your side and who's not? But people like Samantha Hill are on your side. So when they go to the website, Samantha, how do they engage you? How do they begin the process with you?
There's a submission form that you can fill out that will have me contact you. There's also a call now button, so you can call me if you like. Obviously, we help a lot of people all over the country, so the submission form is a great place to start. There's some disclaimers on there that you want to check and make sure that all of those things are done. But yeah, you start there, and then we're usually in contact very quickly, as quickly as we can.
Wonderful. There's a saying, a leader touches the heart before they ask for a hand. Well, folks, you're talking to a leader here with Samantha Hill. You may be a reluctant television presence, Samantha, but it's obvious from the things in your heart and things you want to accomplish, not just with helping people save their families' lives, but you also want to put out some positive messages out there to the world. And I can't wait. I can't wait for your podcast, and we'll definitely have you back on this show. And I already know people who have millions of followers. They're looking forward to interviewing you as well, not only for thepatientplaybook.com, but also interview you for other things too. You're an entrepreneur. You're a businesswoman, and you've got that business mind. Most people don't understand that. I don't know if you're a fan of Robert Kiyosaki or not.
Yep.
But you're in those quadrants. You're moving to the other quadrant, if not already, of business owner and investor. But folks, the best way to do a business is to build it in order to sell it. That's the way to do it. Then start something new.
Yep.
You don't hold on till the day you die and can't do it anymore. Then you're wondering what you're going to do. But this is a sharp woman, and I can't wait, Samantha, for your podcast. I can't wait to see more people also learn the truth of how they have an advocate they can contact, someone who's honest, someone who's been there, and just an incredible young lady that even saved her mother's life and is well connected with those who want to save your life as well. I'm so happy to have you on the show today, Samantha.
I'm so happy to be here. I was so nervous, but I feel so calm now.
See, right? Just two friends having a conversation, and millions of household coverage to see this friendly conversation. Folks, I encourage each and every one of you, though, go to thepatientplaybook.com today and send that link out to others as well. And I'll even go further. Samantha did not ask me to do this, but if you're a business out there, folks, you need to link up with people of like mind. You need to link up with people with integrity and honesty, people who aren't paid assassins, people who care about the health of others and the well-beings of others, and people who actually love our country. There's more of us than there are of them. Why don't you connect as well with Samantha Hill? Find out how you can get behind what she's doing with this advocacy thing. Maybe it's sponsorships of her podcast. Maybe it's whatever. But spread the word. Make sure your employees know. A smart businessman, a smart business leader will take care of the people in his care, so to speak. You want to cut down on insurance costs, or you want to cut down on medical issues? Keep your workers healthy because you care for them. Connect with thepatientplaybook.com and get some good information, learn what your rights are. Now, your friend Laura has been sending out boxes for people like me who had COVID recently, and I contacted her, and I'll tell you what, I've recommended her to so many people. And so was that one of the things that both of you came up together, one of your ideas too?
No. She did that all on her own. That was,
Wow.
well, I think she has a partner with it, but her and I knew in our friendship, she had told me that that's what she wanted to do. And I have one right over here in my medicine cabinet. I think it's the greatest thing ever. Her website is defenseboxes.com. You can go on there and it has everything that you need to fight COVID in the, early stages at home. So, you'd mentioned, earlier the aspirin, and there's melatonin and there's Pepcid, and all those things have different values for fighting COVID. But defenseboxes.com, go get you one. I think they're coming out with an immunity box, which is really great. So it's going to have all your vitamins and things that you need to take on a daily basis. Really just a fantastic idea. So, get some for your home, be prepared, not scared is their logo. So that's really, or not their logo, but their yeah. So, but yeah, definitely defenseboxes.com, go there, thepatientplaybook.com. More information on budesonideworks.com. There's tons of validations, studies, success stories, things like that on there. And there's also a link on budesonideworks.com to my page as well. So
amazing woman, entrepreneur, trailblazer, advocate, hero in my book. And I can't wait for your podcast.
Thank you.
Once again, thank you, Samantha, for joining me on Word on the Street.
Thank you. I'm so excited. I appreciate you so much. God bless you.
And thank you, folks. We'll see you next time.